Hey folks, welcome to Greg's Golf Shack. Today I want to talk about 10 reasons that you might be leaving the club face open at impact. Now this does not necessarily mean that an open club face is a bad thing. We sometimes need that for a certain kind of shot or for a certain unique swing. And I don't really want to get into the details of whether we're talking about if the club face is open relative to our swing path or open to the target. The key of this video is if you know that you suffer with an open club face and you're trying to fix it, that's what we're going to dive into. Now, I'd love it if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow me on my socials, even share some of this content if you think it'll help somebody. I'm a certified instructor with the Canadian Golf Teachers Federation and have been recognized as one of the top 50 golf instructors in Canada. I want to help you improve your game and have more fun on the course. All right, these first 5 tips are related to our setup position. Now, some of you might feel you're advanced golfers and it's got to be more complicated than that. Do not dismiss our setup, the key fundamentals and the foundations of the golf swing. With all the people I get in here for lessons, usually the culprit is in setup. So these first 5 reasons are related to setup. And one is really the easiest of them all. It's sometimes we set up with an open face. We just think we're pointed down the target line with our golf face, but it just happens to be open at impact. We might be rotating our arms. We might actually be holding the club with the open face, but it will cause an open face most likely at impact. So what do? When we're set up, we're just going to close that face. It's a good idea to use some sort of an alignment aid when you're practicing. Maybe lay down some alignment sticks, put some tees in the ground, something to give you a visual of where your club face is pointing. And hopefully you can get it pointing down your target line. If you feel you're setting up with an open face, don't just turn your hands over to close the face because they're going to come back. Adjust that face, release the grip, re-grip it so the face is closed, and give a swing. That might fix everything. Reason number 2, you might have a weak grip. Your hands might be turned over on the club, meaning if we relax everything, we relax our shoulders and the arms and everything, that club face opens. So we want to have maybe a stronger grip. This has nothing to do with how tight you're holding onto it or how loose you're holding onto it. In fact, I wish we had better terminology for this, but a weak grip means your lead hand is under the club more and your trail hand is on top of the club more. That's a weak grip, meaning if I bring my arms back to neutral, it opens the face. A strong grip is the opposite. The back of our lead hand is more on top of the club, the back of our trail hand is more under it, and if we relax, it wants to close the club. I would like you to try a neutral grip where the hands feel like they're coming in from the side, feel like the back of your lead hand is pointing down the target line, the back of your trail hand is pointing down away from the target, and see if that makes a difference. When you relax, that club head should be square. If you need to go a little bit extreme and try a stronger grip at first, give it a try and you can always dial it back to a neutral position. So a weak grip could be one of the issues you're seeing. Now, reason 3 is actually how tight we're holding on to the club. If we are really squeezing that, strangling that grip, it becomes really difficult to allow that club head to release freely and close as it's turning through impact. When we have tension in our arms and our forearms and our grip, everything kind of holds off and stays open. We need to be nice and loose through our impact position. So free up the hands. Let that grip feel nice and loose, nice and soft. Let the wrists feel loose so you can release the club through impact. It will come through and want to close. If you're too tight, you'll be holding it open. Now, reason 4, also related to setup, we could be setting up with the toe of the club down. So that means maybe We've got high hands and wrists. We're kind of pushing our hands down like this. You'll feel tension in the forearms, and maybe the toe is down and the heel is up on the club. That can cause the toe to hit the ground first and open the club face. If it opens through impact, then we're going to see some of those pushes and spins and different things that we don't really want. So this can also happen if your golf clubs are too short. If I grip down and my golf club is too short and I bring it down to the ground, you can see the toe of the club is sitting there. If I come through impact and the toe hits, that's going to throw that heel out and it's going to open up the face. So make sure you're not projecting your wrists up like this. You don't want to have high hands. You want to have lower hands. Make sure there's an angle between the shaft of the club and your arms. Feel like your arms are a little closer to the body and just sort of hanging straight down from you. See if you can get that club sitting flat on the ground. Now, reason number 5, also related to our setup, it could be our ball position. Where is the ball in our stance? Is it more towards the front foot or the back foot? If you struggle with an open club face at impact, your ball might be too far back in the stance, because as our swing plane comes through, the club face will be open and hopefully naturally it'll start to close as that swing wraps around us. So if the ball is back in the stance, we might be catching that ball too early and the club face will still be open. If we move the ball more forward in our stance, that might give a chance for our natural swing to release and have that club face close through impact. So you can experiment with ball position to see if that helps you close the club face. Now, these next 3 tips are also somewhat related, but they bring in different feels of our golf swing. We're going to talk about these as it relates to downswing and through impact a little bit. So the first reason is our lead arm. I love to advocate for this feeling that we use our lead arm to backhand the ball through impact. I think that's a really positive visual and feeling to have in our golf swing. However, some of us can take that a little too far and we feel we want to apply aerodynamics and things like that, and we end up chopping that lead hand, using our baby finger and the side of our hand to chop through impact. Now, you'll notice if I use that feeling, you can see the full back of my hand. If I'm holding on to the club's way out here. By the time we get through impact, I want to feel like the back of that lead hand is facing more towards the target. We've got to get that club around. So when we backhand the ball, I literally want you to feel like you're using the back of your hand, not the side of your hand. That's a really common thing that I see with people, is this chop. We want to backhand it. Reason number 7, somewhat related to that kind of motion, we can often just be late with our hands. If our body's turning through and the hands are following our body and never catching up, that face is going to be open at impact. We need a chance for that club head to catch up to our swing. And a common solution we can use to help fix that is in your backswing, get to the top of your swing and feel like you're holding your back to the target just a little bit longer. Hold it there, let the arms and the club come down and release the body through. Now this feels like it's counterintuitive. We know that the downswing starts with the lower body, then our core and our arms and the club follow. I'm not suggesting we start with the arms. I'm just trying to create that little bit of a delay so our sequencing can time up properly. Even though you feel like your back is staying to the target longer, you're still probably going to be releasing it first. So feel like you're holding it there, let the clubs and your arms get down to the ball and see if that helps close that club face. Now, reason 8, this one can kind of be frustrating sometimes. I get people in and they've watched videos. They want to create all this lag and they hear these tips. You really gotta tuck that trail elbow, tuck it into the hip and get in this position where you're really down here. Even I advocate sometimes we want the feeling of pulling the handle through impact. And that can be good for certain types of swing flaws or to try to improve what somebody is trying to accomplish. But if you've got a face wide open and you're putting yourself in this position, that face is pointed at you. It's not pointed anywhere near the target. And you've got a very small window to kind of release that club. So if you are using this idea of tucking that trail elbow, really the fix is just stop doing that. What happens is if you tuck that elbow, your hip will come forward sometimes, you'll come up off your heel, you're just sliding the club through like this. It's kind of related to the last two reasons. So just let that elbow be a little bit natural. We don't want to straighten it. We don't want to rotate it out. Just feel like the eye of the elbow is pointing towards you. All right, target's down there. I want to feel like I'm swinging a little bit underhand. I don't want to tuck. I don't want to connect that elbow to my hip. That is just pulling that club open. Now, these next two reasons are pretty much at impact and into the follow through. The first one, reason number 9, is we can get a hip slide going on. If we have a good backswing and we start sliding our hips, they get out in front of us like this, right? Sometimes they come out towards you, towards the camera. They slide out that way down to the target line. We're not really getting a turn around. Now that is an exaggerated look. We'd like to turn tightly. If I slide, I'm not releasing the club. It's staying open. Not only that, I'm pushing the club out towards the camera. Really hard to get a release there. This happens when we're trying to get more power. People throw the body like this rather than turn the body. I want you to feel like there is a wall up off your lead foot and you're body checking that wall and turning yourself within that wall. We don't want to hip bump it. We don't want to go through the wall with our hips. We want to turn inside this wall. Keep it nice and tight. That will help the club face release and close through impact. Another thing you can do if you're getting too much of that hip slide, try to leave your trail heel on the ground longer. You're probably pushing this way with your lower body. Leave that heel down longer so you can turn around your body. Let that heel release naturally as part of the finish of the swing. Let the club and the swing pull that heel up rather than push it up. Now, another really common reason that you might be leaving the club face open at impact is the famous chicken wing. That happens after impact. If we swing and our arm bends up like this, the club does not release. It stays open. That's called the chicken wing, right? We don't want that. We want that arm coming down. We want that club to release nicely. So what we want is the feeling that both arms are almost straight out here after impact. One feeling I'd like you to try is as you're swinging, feel like the elbow of your lead arm turns down to point at the ground after impact. You can kind of feel like it's pointing towards your hip. Don't lock it in there. We still need a nice release. Our arm still needs to free up away from us, but we don't want this to happen. It's really common, that chicken wing, where we pull up on the club like this. Feel like you're rotating the eye of your elbow up to the sky after impact. That immediately helps these forearms rotate over. That feeling of rotating our arms closes that club. Now, if you're using that feeling of rotating the arms over after impact, right? We don't want to do it at impact. That's a flip. We want it to happen after impact. Just be sure you're not making that rotation of your forearms with your trail shoulder. If that happens, we do this. That's a big over the top. That shoulder's still got to be low, turning underneath our chin. Let the forearms roll over. That should help you with a good impact, a good release, and help you close that club face. Now folks, there are lots of different reasons of why we might be leaving the club face open at impact, and our swings are unique. Those 10 are the most common that I see when I'm working with people here in the studio. So I hope you can identify with one of those items and use that fix or that feeling to help fix it, start striking the ball more pure and having more fun. Hope you enjoyed those tips. We'll see you next time on Greg's Golf Shack.